Okay, so I thought of the best bumper sticker to put on my piece of shit Honda van that I've spray painted. I need a bumper sticker that says this van is a communist. Would that not be fucking hilarious? Like, I'm not a communist, but the van is. Clearly. I figured I'd title this that. I don't really know what this is going to be about. I am. I is that. I call this the morning joint. This isn't the morning joint. I've done about a billion things today. It's not even the morning anymore. This is just. I'm starting to, you know, sit down and smoke and talk to you people. But at the same time, it's Sunday, and the stuff that I've been doing is like watching TV and, you know, honestly, I've been preparing like kits and rigs and shit for the end of the world. That's pretty awesome. I'm trying to like square away some things, and like some things go in my purse, and some things go in the med kit, some things go in a fucking war rig, right? And I've been doing some of that. And some of my preps over the last couple of months haven't probably made sense to a lot of people, but I wanted to upgrade my Swiss Army knife. We did that. Um, the multi tools and shit. The only multi tool I had at that point was my Swiss Army knife and my Leatherman juice. And I took my Leatherman juice, and it is now in my war rig as like the emergency backup lightweight tool. I think it's perfect for that. So it's kind of got a place of honor. It's a first line use item, but it's not a first line use item, if that makes any sense. The Leatherman rebar and the Cold Steel SR1 light, I made a combo to go in the med kit. And my thought is the med kit is kind of an emergency kit. And at least for now, that makes sense to put those there. I don't know. Those might end up in a dedicated survival kit of some sort, or a tool kit. They might end up in the tool kit, to be honest. But those are going to be in that somewhere. And then on my EDC person, whatever, like in my purse, I have the Skeletool that I spent a bunch of money on, and the Farmer X I spent a bunch of money on. And I actually went and sold my Farmer and my Hiker. I had those two sitting around, and I'm planning on buying a another plastic handled Swiss Army knife because I like having one of those. But I wanted the one that has all the tools that I want. And really, once I have the one I want, the old ones don't mean much to me. And I recouped some money off of that fucking $100 fucking Swiss Army knife I bought. The next one I'm gonna buy is gonna be a Huntsman, and it's gonna be cheap. I had to debate on which one of those I'm gonna get and when, but like it's in my Amazon cart. That is, I have like a $2,000 or $3,000 Amazon cart that I never click buy on, but it's just the stuff that I'm thinking about buying. It's what is next on my list of priorities. And really, I don't think multi tools would have been most people's next thing on the list of priorities, but like it was a passion of mine that I hadn't indulged in a long time. And it was really fun picking out badass multi tools to put in kits. I really enjoyed that. That's kind of like what I'm doing right now is I'm pre-flighting all the guns. I already had some guns that I'd already done this with that they were ready to run. They'd been camoed. They had lights and optics and slings and holsters and shit. But I had a few that I needed to work on, and that's what I'm doing now on some of those. My second AR-15 is a whole fucking bag of fucking shit that I'm gonna have to dump money into. It's functional now. I'm not happy with it, and I can make myself happy with it for a few $100s. So we're gonna do that. Um, Again, that's probably not first on the list of preps for most people, but the thing you ought to get is that I've already got food, um, and my water shit needs to be more squared away, but it's better than it has been in 2 years. So, you know, fuel, I'm as good as I can be. I need gas cans. That's not like a desperate need. If I were going to be traveling more, it would be a higher priority thing. For me, it's one of those things that I can probably find gas cans. I can't find the exact gun and multi-tool that I want. I'm trying to get basically the last of the shit that I ever wanted to get off of the internet. That's what I'm ordering. I know you're like, that seems odd. It is. But this is, you know, I am planning to maintain my independence and lots of other things during the end of the world. And I think the best way to do this, for me at least, is to be highly mobile, or at least be capable of being highly mobile. It's not like I'm going to live out of a van, but if I had to, I can. And I have shit that's rigged for that. And whether that's, I'm going to live out of a van for a couple of weeks as an adventure, or I'm going to go live out of a van for a few years because we have to. This, I'm doing that. The list of shit that I need prep wise is daunting in my mind. I really don't need any of it, but like the van project has good $1,000 worth of shit it needs. Rifles, more than that probably. Um, between optics and barrels and other shit, and maybe even building a third rifle. That's a never-ending pit of places to throw fucking money. Knife-wise, I'm getting close. I I have a handful of knives that I want to get squared away, and I'm starting a new hobby. I've already done the first one. That is decorating Opinels. They're cheap, especially the little ones that don't have locks are like $10, and I think they're kind of cool. Um, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with that yet, but here in the next couple days, I'm going to order my next couple Opinels to work on because like it's not that big of a deal to me to take $20 and throw it at Opinels, and I think this is like I can customize these and make these cool. I could sell these at a gun show, or I could sell them online, or whatever. It's something to generate something more than anything. Like I think this is a better thing to put my money in than silver. I can really pimp these things out. I'm good at it. I'm gonna get a wood burning set and a wood carving set eventually. We'll really go nuts at that. It'll be my new thing, I think. Like I'll make the Klein Knives Instagram page all about fucking customizing those. That's something that I can do, and I like doing it. And that's something that I could even do, you know, with a Dremel tool and a wood burning set and a set of chisels and a thing of mustard and a blowtorch in the back of a fucking van. I really want to figure out a way to mount a anvil and a fucking vise to my bumper. I think that would be sweet. It would add weight at the front. If you're like, why would you want to add weight at the front? Well, it's front wheel drive, and I just think that's a good thing. Basically, maybe that's what I should do. Have the winch and have like a winch on, have the winch in the center, and then have an anvil on one side and a fucking vise on the other. Have them welded in so they can't be stolen. That would be so fucking badass. I think I'm going to do some crazy shit to this van eventually. Once I get around to that. that is a much longer project, really. Um, the rifle thing, I'm going to be putting more steam into because of things going on in the world. I've decided that I'm going to go with a 20-inch with no bayonet lug because bayonet lug weighs something, and yeah, I'm going to have weight issues on this gun probably anyway. But I'm going to go with a linear comp on a 20-inch barrel. And my idea with that is to make a fucking like laser beam that shoots 5.56 really high velocities, but yet is relatively quieter. Like it's not got a suppressor on it. That's not the point of it. But a 20-inch barrel makes it quieter. A linear comp makes it quieter. The combo I'm interested to see. Um, I don't know what else I'm gonna do to that thing. I think a 3 times magnifier has to happen on that gun because I'm wanting a gun with longer capabilities and shit, and that's why the longer barrel. But at the same time, I don't want to give up the red dot. That screams magnifier. Honestly, it even screams like 6 times magnifier, but I don't know. I think those are pretty heavy from what I've heard. I wish EOTech or Aimpoint or somebody, even Vortex or fucking Holosun, would make a magnifier to go behind a red dot that went like 3 to 10, 2 to 7, 3 to 9, somewhere in that range. Doesn't need 1 power. Really doesn't even need 2 power, really, because it swings out of the way. So really needs like 3 to 7. If you could get me a 3 to 7, that's a range that you could probably build one of those. That would be pretty small and light. You know how bitchin' a 3 to 7 magnifier would be for a fucking AR-15? And it wouldn't be that hard to do. It's just you're making a tiny scope with no reticle in it. And that would be like the bitchin' thing too, is if you had one of those and it was fairly inexpensive, like Holosun made it, then if you fucking trash it and the internal shit breaks in it, then you go buy a new one. That's honestly, there's some benefit to that kind of a thing. There's some benefit to never having to buy another one, but there's also some benefit to being able to buy 10 of them and, you know, knowing that you're good. That's kind of where I'm at with red dots. I like the Holosun 43R. I keep thinking about buying some other thing to put on that AR-15, and I keep coming back to I would rather have two Holosun 403Rs. So I think I'm just going to do that eventually. We're going to stack those things deep. Buy them one or two here, there as I can. There's a lot of other shit like that that I just need more of, like magazines and 5.56 ammunition. That's a prep that I really need to add to, but like in my opinion, it is stupid to worry about more ammunition if you have tools that dispense that ammunition that need work, and you have enough ammunition to fight not the entire Vietnam War, but a good firefight in it. Like I've got enough ammunition to handle most things, and that's nothing crazy. Like I've got like 700 rounds of 9 mil, like 400 or 500 rounds of 45, like a couple thousand rounds of 5.56. That's quite a bit though. Like that's why I'm not like, oh, I need to stack more ammo. I definitely need more ammo, but at the same time, there's a lot of other shit that I need worse. And I think squaring away gun optics and parts is a big one. I'm not buying any more new guns other than shotguns and a deer rifle. My buddy Blazer has a survival shotgun that I've told you guys about a billion times. I'm gonna get that. The deer rifle and shotgun, those are probably going to be back burner for a while. And that's just, I don't see the point in buying any new guns while I'm trying to like square away preps and whatever. I do see the point in buying accessories for guns we already have, especially if they're cheap accessories. A lot of the stuff that I'm buying for that AR-15 is less than $50. Okay, a couple of things are like $20. Like the charging handle and gas pedal for my 320 from TacDev together were like $110 with a Labor Day sale. I think that's really good. Like I really wanted both of those things. $100 in that, like, it doesn't make sense to you probably because you're not getting how big of a deal the gun is. Because like to me, this is my bag gun. This is probably the gun that is most likely to be involved in anything. It's the gun that is my PDW. It's going to go everywhere that I go. If I piss, it helps. So anything that goes on that gun gets a much, much higher priority than anything else. And that's kind of like Moon Tiger now. I'm planning on that being my go to war rifle, basically. The other Loki is kind of a survival AR-15, hunting AR-15. Like it can be used for other things too, but it's its own kind of animal. I've had this other gun, and it needs help. Like it's got a Bear Creek upper on it. And not talking shit about Bear Creek, but it's not the best shit in the world. And what I'm coming to realize is I'm buying enough of another gun that I'm going to have a Bear Creek upper pretty much left over when I'm done. So I'm going to buy a cheap ass lower someplace and figure out what I'm going to do with this. I really wanted to make a 9mm carbine, but like if I have a 5.56 barrel and bolt laying in a drawer, that's going to be really hard to justify. Other preps. I need gasoline storage, and that's where like gas cans would really be a good buy. And I say I don't have gas cans. My grandparents' house, we have like 2 or 3 plastic ones, and then I have a 2-gallon plastic one that's out there by my car. You know, that's some, but it's not. I want like 10 metal jerry cans from shit. It's a little bit of a different thing. And my plan on that is basically like every time I put one in the van, I'll take it to the gas station and fill it and rotate. Maybe have, let's say I have a dozen of them, have 10 of them that have fuel stabilizer in that I rotate, once every couple of years. And then I have a couple of cans that I use as my go tos that don't have stabilizer in them that I just rotate. I've got propane out the ass, that's good. Forget how many of those things I've got. At my grandparents' house, I have 2 of them, and then I've got another like 6 here. So that's as far as propane goes, I really can't see buying more of that. At least I've got many, many other things on a priority list besides that. I guess that's kind of my thing is like some things that I already have too much of in my mind or way more than enough, I'm not going to buy more of. Even if it's food and ammo. Like I've got quite a bit of canned goods and I eat some of those and buy fresh ones when I go by the grocery store and shit like that. Kind of try to rotate some of that shit and I occasionally order a new thing here and there. I'm going to have to order some more canned fruit because it's addictive, basically. It's just good. Like canned pineapple is fucking good. And that's all I got to say about that. There's all sorts of jokes that could be made about, the taste of semen and pineapple too. I will say that most of the Hawaiian men, like, it doesn't taste bad. I think it's just a myth. I don't think pineapple makes your jizz taste good. Heard all sorts of myths. This week, other than AR parts, I'm just gonna go to the grocery store and load up on shit, which is kind of a prep in and of itself. I might go get some more bottled water. That's a cheap prep that really. Yeah, I need to run to Costco. I also need like, I don't know, $1,000 in AR parts. So I'm gonna have to like control myself on what I buy. Definitely gonna get a Manta tack wrap. I need that, and that's cheap enough. Uh, I think I'm gonna get the flashlight that Hack Furnace wants to sell me, and I might order the front sight post ring even for that, because that's the shit that will really change the outward looks of that rifle. And then after that, it's gonna be saving up for a barrel, or just doing the barrel. I might just do the barrel. Um, Doing the muzzle device, and then saving up for the fucking magnifier. $300 is I could swing that without saving up, but it's fucking rough. Basically, after it's all said and done, you know, after I've paid everybody that I need to pay and bought food for myself, I have a few $100s every couple of weeks to put into preps and whatever else I want. And if I just buy that fucking magnifier, I'm gonna be hurting for at least a couple of weeks, which that might be worth it. It's also worth it just to save up for things. I need to add that to my list. I have a whiteboard on my fridge of things that I'm like have as goals that take more than like there's some things on there that are less that are like 150 to $100, but usually it's something that's $300 or more goes on that list. That magnifier could definitely qualify. The other things on that list are like 10 acres of land, a set of katanas, a balisong, kukri, um, deer rifle, hunting shotgun, various other things. There's things that I want other than that, but like those are the things that speak to me, I guess. That I like guns and weapons and knives. I really like knives, and I'm building a collection of stuff that I like. Basically, I don't see a reason not to have a cool knife collection. And I really thinned the herd over the last few years of everything basically that I didn't make, and a lot of things that I did make. Um, so like I found a balisong I think I want, and that's just by the time I got around to buying it, it was out of stock. So now I'm waiting for it to be in stock again. Kukri, I know what I'm gonna get, and like there's a solid argument to be made that we take care of the Kukri before we worry about AR-15s. I don't know if I agree with that, but I like the Kukri. I don't know. I might do the accessories for the AR-15, then do a couple of blades, and then do the internals for the AR-15. We have other shit we need too. Like I need winter sleep gear for the van still. I need water filtration shit. I have some of it. Like I took a big stab at water. Um, what was it, last month? And I need to do that one more time. I need another canteen cup. I need canteen bags for my other two canteens, and I need hiker water filter. The other water filter I have is kind of a base camp kind of a thing, and I'm wanting something to put in the bag. And I know everyone's like, just get a life straw, whatever. Life straws fucking suck. Like I don't. I guess I've been in the woods a lot more than a lot of people, but trust me, you don't want a fucking life straw. Like I couldn't imagine a worse water filter than a life straw. It's one of those things that it's really fucking small and you can keep it in a, you know, shirt pocket kit. It's great for that. As something to keep in a shirt pocket, it's fucking awesome. As something to have as like your main way to filter water in the end of the world, like you're a fucking psycho. The water filter that I have is the Zero water filter. It's pretty cheap and it does a better job than Berkey according to some tests I watched, and that's good enough for me. I don't really care for Berkey all that much. It seems like they're a, you know, it's one of those like survivalist companies that started by someone into it who's probably like a Mormon and kind of a weirdo. Yeah, that's what Berkey strikes me as. Go get a Zero water filter. Um, I have a countertop one of those and a couple of 6 packs of extra filters for it, and I've got a dozen things of bottled water on top of that. That's one of those like I kind of figure between that and the camping shit that I'm gonna have, I'll figure it out. Past that, my plan would be to buy more Zero water filters. It seems like the world is not going to collapse to the point to where you can't buy a fucking water filter. It just seems like you may have trouble getting it, which is why plan ahead for your shit, order it all online, have it shipped to you by a reliable company. Like it's not that hard to navigate the end of this world. Seems like Amazon is going to survive it. I don't know that that's a good thing, but it's a thing. My weed cart doesn't draw worth a shit. Anyway, weapons seems like an odd thing to prep or whatever, but if that's the only thing you value, like why prep anything else? I There's other things I value. I want to get silver again. Uh, I had a bunch of silver at one point, but one thing led to another, and I ended up trading that around. I should have just hung on to that silver. Once I dipped into it at all, it just went fast. I need I need something that I could actually have faith in. That's my thing is I don't have faith in cash, but I have more faith in cash than I have in silver right now. Coin of the realm is still coin of the realm to some extent. And that's where they have us by the balls is the vast majority of people, they don't even think of silver as money. They think of paper money as money at best. If not, they just think they have a debit card with numbers on it that makes the magic shit appear. Like, it's bad. It's not a good way to be. I uh, I lived as an American for a month or two when I got my fucking car money. I stopped caring about how much shit cost, and it was nice to live that way for a couple months. Usually, I am Scottish. Let's put it that way. I'm very cheap, but like, I'm cheap in weird ways. I'm more than happy to spend $1,000 on something if it's something we're going to use and we're going to have forever. If it's something that's like disposable, I don't see a reason to pay a lot for it. And that's my issue with most of the world right now. Is like I spent quite a bit of my car money on shit that's not disposable. You know, um, I got really, really, really nice camping gear. Nice. I got a car that I like that I think I'll be able to keep running for the next 20 years. You know, a lot of the stuff that I do and the things that I buy and a lot of other things like they don't make sense to most people. That's good. They don't need to. Um, my thing with the minivan is basically that it's a Honda, and that there are a lot of Hondas of that era in junkyards around here, and it was cheap and it has the cargo capacity I need. That's kind of how I like to be with most things. Is like, what's the cheapest way to do the thing that I want to do that will last forever? So it's not really that I'm fucking like cheap, 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 and it's not really like I buy the best shit in the world. But you should realize that when I'm telling you I buy X, it's because I damn well thought the matter through. Okay, and I arrived at it as the conclusion of this is the best thing that I should buy for my money. And some of that is a little bit of brand loyalty here and there, but some of it is like, well, let's talk about the Flux Raider. The Flux Raider was not cheap. In fact, a lot of people would say that's one of the most expensive guns I own. And they're right, it is. However, I wanted a pistol caliber carbine submachine gun PDW thing. And in that realm, I think the Flux Raider is a bargain. It's really, really lightweight and really, really space age and cheap. Like compare it to buying an HK. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Was either it was this versus an MP5, and the MP5 that I would have bought would have been the MP5K. Um, and then I probably would have had to do some semi illegal shit to it because like I would want I'd want it set up like this. So the red dot on an MP5K, that's easy. Single point sling on the back, that's easy. Light on it, that's probably even easy. That whole second mag place to put your hand thing, I don't know what to call that. That is what would run you into trouble on an MP5K. Also, this gun is significantly lighter than an MP5K by a whole lot. And you know, if we're not going to be in full auto, then why do we need all of that extra weight? I quite like this gun without the brace. Also, by the way, um, as a PDW, it comes with extra ammo. It comes with the red dot. It it basically has no recoil to it. The brace is cool, but it kind of gets in the way of the gun. Um, just in my opinion, if if I could have the stock, that would be worth having. The braced version of this, basically, the length of pull is too fucking short for me, and it's just weird. I don't like it. You take that bullshit off of it, and it makes a pretty damn good bag gun. And that's kind of what I was wanting originally anyway, was I was going to go with like an MP5K with a brace as a bag gun. And I like this thing without a brace better than the MP5K with the brace. Other examples of this would be like my pocket tools. You know, I didn't buy the best thing ever. Like, the best thing ever would have been probably some sort of like titanium charge thing from Leatherman, and I don't know. It would have been more money for sure. But also, I didn't cheap out. I spent $200 on pocket tools. Like, really more than that once you figure in the backup setup and all that shit. And this is kind of my philosophy, I guess, when it comes to a lot of this preparedness stuff and gear in general. Like, I view outdoorsman gear and preparedness kind of in the same vein. If it has to do with one, it has to do with the other, more than likely. Here it is. Sorry, heard a horn honk outside. But for outdoorsman gear and preparedness, to me they're all kind of one and the same, because I view it being preferable to be out and away from people, basically, in most situations. And then you have all of the fucking, like, well, what if you have to fight sort of shit that, like, you're probably going to be living in a hole somewhere. That's the reality of, modern warfare, really. It's not very glamorous. But that's why the focus on pocket knives and shit, like, it, in my mind, has direct application to all of the shit that we're about to go through or are going through. Like, I seriously think we were at the starting stages of some shit that is going to be remembered for the rest of our fucking lives. I pray that it goes well. If it goes well, we become England. If it doesn't go well, we become like Venezuela. Point is, we're no longer going to be the American empire that we're all used to. And actually, I don't think that's even necessarily true. I think, assuming that we don't get pissed at Russia and China and start some sort of fucking war, I think what you see happen is everyone just starts working in their own sphere of influence, because it becomes evident that you don't want to have other people playing in your backyard. If I were Russia, this is exactly what I would be doing in Mexico right now. It's probably what they are doing in Mexico right now. I would be sending fucking like Spetsnaz advisors and shit to help the cartel. And it's one of those things that, like, maybe the White House will figure that shit out, but it seems like Joe Biden is kind of an idiot. So, you know, I would imagine our southern border crisis is going to get a lot worse. It's my prediction of the future. I don't know what else I need to prep. I keep thinking I should prep something besides fucking gun parts, but at the same time, I have that second rifle that I need shit for. Like, in reality, should I spend, $150 on a barrel right now and $80 on a muzzle device? No, but I probably should spend the $60 on the light and the Manta tack wrap thing isn't that expensive. I wish I could just like flip a switch on that rifle and have it be the way I want it to be. I have this kind of vision for it in my head that I like seeing them come to life. I don't really care about using them or keeping them or whatever. I have the thing in my head that I want to see. I guess that makes me weird. I am trying to hang on to all of my creations now. I like making weird shit just for me. It's weird watching the Rings of Power uh, because it talks so much about like creation, really, especially like not in the show yet, but in the stuff that I'm like watching and reading alongside it. That is basically what Tolkien wrote in the Second Age. He had this very dark view of making things. I think, in a way, he's right. Like you're pouring a little bit of yourself into whatever it is you're making. I think that's why it feels bad to sell them. At least when it comes to knives and shit. When it comes to guns, I'm a little bit less that way, but I don't know. I'm definitely more that way with the ones that I've really put some time and effort into. I guess that's how most people feel about just the guns that they've bought. I never felt that way about the guns that I just bought. If I completely custom modify it and paint it to my liking and whatever and make it mine, or like in the case of my 1911, I took a Dremel tool and carved shit in the side of it. Now, I did a really good job at that because that's kind of what I do. Um, Especially when I did that, I was at the best I ever was at hand engraving with a Dremel tool. I don't know if I could even do that now. I haven't done it in a couple of years. Oh, it takes a lot of hand strength to, you know, basically be your own CNC. It's like a computer controlled machine, but you're the computer. It's my Oklahoma accent. Swede is actually pretty good, even though it is hard to draw. Hmm. I really need to do radios and flashlights and shit like that, but like, fuck. I have flashlights for the most part. I want a couple of Streamlight rechargeable ones just to run off of solar cells, and I want radios for radio shit. I think Hashnasi's almost talked me into getting GMRS radios to make sure that they'll transmit over the area that I want them to. I need to pick out a model and shit on that. That really got dumped to the back burner. And it's really important. Like, I don't focus much on communications because in reality, we have cell phones, and I lived in a world before cell phones. So, yeah, it's pretty easy to know what to do if you did that. Like, a lot of people don't get that, I was born in 1990, but my parents didn't even have cell phones until the mid 2000s. Like, it was maybe 2003 or 4 before my parents had one, and it was 2006 or 7 before I had one. It's not that hard to live without cell phones. And half of the shit that I bought entertainment wise for preps is a result of having lived in a world before I had an iPhone. I I need to get an iPod loaded with music. That would be a good idea. But I bought a couple portable DVD players and a bunch of fucking TV seasons that I liked, and I'm kind of starting to load up on movies here and there as I see them. Uh, it's a backup plan, but I think it's good to have an entertainment backup plan. But I'm more worried about that aspect of losing the phones than I am about comms. And that's because basically, like, I want a GMRS radio to give to my grandma and my uncle. And, like, we each have one. We live close enough to each other, they probably reach. That makes sense. That's what I want. Anything more than that is kind of a waste of time, in my opinion. Cell service will be back up eventually. If it's not, then I guess we'll rig a ghetto Wi-Fi system, and then I'll still use my fucking phone and uh, laptop. Like, maybe the whole internet goes away or something. I don't see that, and if that does happen, that's like a nuclear attack, which is another, like, this is a whole nother level of preparedness, really, and that's not where I'm at yet. I'm still kind of in and of the opinion that if we get in a nuclear war, we're just all fucked. So I'm preparing for like more realistic scenarios than us nuking each other. At least what is in my mind more realistic scenarios. I'm kind of preparing somewhere between like the Great Depression and limited action World War III that involves action on our Mexican border. So, like, what I mean by that is Russia's fighting the Ukrainians, the Chinese are fighting the Taiwanese, and we're fighting the Mexicans. It's not really a world war, but we're all fighting all at the same time. That's what I see coming. And the reason I see that coming is Canada and the US are tight. There's not much they could do up there to fucking cause Canada to fucking pick a fight with us. Mexico and the US are tight, but the cartel and the US are not tight. And the cartel runs as much of Mexico as the Mexicans do. This provides a very, very big, like, inroad for shady people. Basically, it's a bad, bad scenario. If I was wanting to fuck with the US, that's how I would hit us. I would, uh, without a doubt. Russia and China must see that too. We have a very big weak chink in our fucking armor, and it's fucking Mexico. Not to mention that the Mexican government is talking friendly with China, Russia, and fucking India and shit. So who fucking knows? They might be a part of the Axis of Good. And this is why, like, I'm preparing for a Great Depression. I'm also preparing to fight some sort of invasion. And maybe that's just because I've watched Red Dawn too fucking much. But I figure preparing to fight off that and preparing for a Great Depression means I'm kind of hitting a lot of shit. Oh, nuclear war. Oh, it's something I really ought to prepare for too. But most of the stuff that you should really do to prepare for that is it has nothing to do with buying anything. Like you need to be in a better spot, and like the stuff that you might need to buy is like stuff for handling radiation contamination and shit, like Tyvek suits and fucking uh, NBC gear. Because there's nothing fun about any of that. It's something I'll need to address eventually, but that's, I'm not going to focus on that for now. I've got a small gas mask that I bought at fucking Wanamaker. I need to get one of those in my size. I'm keeping the small one because I made it into like a samurai armor head thing to put my helmet on. It's pretty badass. I need to finish up my helmet too. I've got so many projects that are like half finished. My helmet, I've got pieces for, but I'm not exactly sure how I want to bolt all that together and if I want to cut parts of the helmet off or not. So it's sitting until I decide. That's how I am with a lot of things. Like I'll work on something like the Flex Raider till I get to a point where I think I don't know what to do next. Then I set it down and I pick up another project. That's just, how I've kind of always been with my own creations, I guess. You can afford to do that when you're not working for somebody else. Let's put it that way. And it kind of makes, I don't know, it makes this show probably a little weird because I bounce from project to project so much. But at the same time, um, I do what my passion is at that particular moment. And I found that when I try to force myself to do a particular project, like work on that helmet, that's when really bad shit happens. It's how you get, um, you know, ruined work and shit. Like the muse has to be with you or whatever. I don't know what the fuck it is. And for me, sitting here talking to you about what I'm going to do is a part of my creative process, believe it or not. I've always done this, I just didn't record it. I kind of think, to some extent, I don't know how interesting these shows are. Some are probably better than others. And I think it very much depends on how high I am. But basically, half of what I'm doing when I don't have a topic on is trying to figure out what project I want to go work on so that I know what to talk about. Because, once you figure out which one you're going to work on, the next stage is, okay, what are we going to do to it? It really helps me to verbalize this and have it all out there and have someone to bounce ideas off of, even if they don't say anything back, which is, you guys never say anything back. You're really great about that. To me, you are a little green light on a fucking MacBook. Isn't that cool? The Cux Raider mods I did. As soon as I got done talking about it on those episodes I did, I turned the camera off or whatever. I put on Disney Plus. I watched Beauty and the Beast because it seemed appropriate somehow. I put on a set of hearing protection and started cutting with a Dremel tool. You have to do things when it feels right. At least I do. I found that for my own projects and anything really. It goes much better if you have visualized it in your head a lot, and that's what I'm kind of doing talking is I'm visualizing in my head what I'm going to do. Not always, but when I'm talking about a project for sure. Oh, I have knives that need work. I don't want to work on them though. I have knives that need sheaths more than anything. I need to find someone to make sheaths. It's like I really want like a nice leather belt sheath, and I make a kind of shitty leather belt sheath at best. Yeah, that's just what it is. I'm gonna find someone to make one for lemonade. That's my the first Tanto I ever made. I just modded it the other day. You can go find pictures of it at Klein Knives on Instagram. I uh, I quite like that knife. I'd like to make it kind of my EDC blade, and it needs a sheath to do that. And whoever does the sheath for that, I'm probably gonna send like 12 knives to. And that's where it's gonna get expensive. Now, just having one made for lemonade and maybe one other wouldn't be that bad. But pretty much even my like most limited amount would be four of them, and that's gonna be a couple $100 at least. And that's if I find somebody cheap. I doubt I'm gonna find somebody cheap. I need to find. There was a guy doing it at the gun shows that my uncle used to have a fucking phone holster made. He actually did really nice work though. I would like to have him just make one for every fucking blade I have right now. Oh, the real shitty part is, oh, there's two of my own blades that I want to buy back, and they're gonna be $450. Uh, they are the two best things I ever made, though. At least they're the two best things I ever made that I don't currently own. There's maybe a couple others. My uncle has a pretty nice one that I made, but yeah, I'll get it back somehow. It has one of the better leather sheaths I ever made on it too. I've got pretty much all the Tantos I ever made. The Ameriblade competition dagger thing that I made is the first one that I want to buy back, and it's not a Tanto, but I made it like a Tanto. It's the weirdest fucking knife, and it's damn near triangular in shape. It's mean. I would not want to get stabbed with that knife. It's one of those that like its appeal was lost on the internet audience. I still think it's a badass blade. And like I said, I'm going to buy that one back for sure. The other one is Malverde. I missed that knife, but that one's going to be $300, and that's going to hurt. That knife is worth it. There's another one I'd like to get back that I think was 350 too, but I don't know. I know who has it, but I haven't asked them about buying it back yet because I'm already on the hook for two. I made badass knives though, and it's kind of like, what would I rather have a collection of? Would I rather have a collection of just random shit, or rather have a collection of stuff I've made? So I'm filling in a few niches and stuff that I don't have, like a kukri and a balisong. And I kind of want a set of katanas just to say I have them. Other than that, I'm probably just going to be buying back a lot of my own shit and making my own projects. That's really why I'd like to get the van to where it had some sort of a fucking belt sander built into it somehow, somewhere. I don't know how that would fucking work. Fucking bumper mounted anvil and what's it called? Vice would be so fucking badass. The forge would be easy enough because you could put that in a bag and throw it under the fucking bed. No problem. And if you got a small belt sander, you could do the same with it. But basically, I don't know of a belt sander that is up for that challenge. Like, it would have to be a really well made, like 1 by 30 or 1 by 42. And I've never seen one of those that was really particularly well made. They always are kind of made like shit for some reason. I really need to like build my own thing, I think, because like I want a slack belt machine more than anything. Because what I'm wanting the ability to do basically is make cord wrapped handled knives from the bush. And if I can get a slack belt to sharpen with and some sort of uh, hard platen to fucking take off big chunks of steel with to shape basic things, that, between that and like some sort of a cutoff wheel for a fucking angle grinder, that would get me pretty much everything I would need. I like the idea of a knife making shop on uh, you know I could make a fucking like tool bag just to fit in the passenger seat, I guess. I was planning on using that for luggage. If you made it this far into this, what do you think about a knife making van? For episode 2 of this, I'll make it this van is a knife maker. See you guys later.